Hey guys, in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how I crocheted these pumpkin treat bags. I also did my nails so I can match the theme. I think it looks so cute, but I'm really excited for Halloween, so I did get started on these guys really early. Let me show you the ones that I did make earlier. So I have all of these bags here. I just haven't finished it yet. I just need to put the mouth on them, but I do have a couple because, you know, Halloween is coming up. I know this is September, but you got to get started early on these things. Plus, I'm so excited to give them out because last year, if you did watch my Halloween series, I did a bag, but they were much bigger, and obviously I didn't give it out because it was COVID time, so I'm saving them for this year. But I decided to make the ones for this year smaller, and I like that this one actually sits up. If you saw the Frankenstein one I did last year, it doesn't sit up because it's more of like kind of like a tote bag. But yeah, these are really cute. They can sit up and you can fit a decent amount of things in here. Sorry for the talk here, but yeah, these are so cute and super easy to make. I actually got the idea to make one of these when I was crocheting owls this year for the hospice. When I was making one of them, I didn't have enough yarn, so I couldn't finish off the top part of the owl, so I ended up turning it into a bag instead, and I thought it looked really cute, a little small tote bag, and I was like, let me make it Halloween theme, and that's how I came up with this. And before I let you know what you'll need, I do want to mention that I will be doing this freehand, so I don't have anything written down. I'll just tell you what I'm doing, and I kind of just match it up to the ones that I do have, so I'll let you know how long you can make yours. You don't have to make it the same size. You can obviously change it up. You can make it bigger or smaller than mine, but of course I'll let you know how to do that in this video. But if you're interested in making one of these, I'll let you know what you'll need in the next couple of clips. We'll be using a 5mm crochet hook. I also have some black felt for the face. For my yarn, I will be using this big twist value yarn. This one is in the color burnt orange. You can use any shade of orange you want, but my yarn will be a weight of 4. This green one right here is from the Karen Simply Soft. I think it's called lime green. I'm using green in this one because, well, in this video because I ran out of brown yarn, but you can use brown if you like. You can see this bag, I do have a lighter one, and then this one I have a darker brown. So you can use any colors you want. I do have a mix of all 3 colors, and I think they all turned out really cute, so of course choose any color you want for the top part. And lastly, you will need some scissors and a hot glue gun. So we're first going to start with our orange yarn, and we're going to create a magic circle. So to create a magic circle, what I like to do is take my yarn and place it against my fingers, and then I'll take the yarn and wrap it around, and once I get to the front, I'm going to create an X. Now after I have this X, I'm just going to bring the yarn back down my hands, and then where my pinky is, I'm just going to hold on to that yarn, and I won't hold it on too tight, hold on to it too tightly, because it will need to, you need it to move so you can crochet, but I just don't want to get it too loose. So what I'm going to do now is just take my crochet hook, go inside the X, and grab that front part of the X and pull it through. And then I'm just going to twist up, and now I have a loop on my hook. So next I'm just going to go and get this yarn again. So I'm going to take my crochet hook, go under to grab it, and pull it through the loop. And then I'm going to let it go so you can see we have a magic circle. Then I'm just going to tighten it up so we can start crocheting. And usually, if you follow my videos, I always do single crochets, but in this video, we will be doing half double crochets. So before we get started, I do want to mention that you don't need a stitch marker because you can see where it ends off, since we are going to be doing a chain 1 every time we start a new row. And because we're doing that, you will have a seam, and I'm not sure if you can see, but it is right here. So there is a seam on this, but I think it looks fine. It doesn't really bother me. So you don't need a stitch marker, but if you feel like you really can't tell where it ends off, you can add one if you like, but you will see that I'll tell you where to place it if you do need one. So to start this row round, you want to chain 1 first. So chaining 1, you just want to yarn over your hook and pull through the loop. That's a chain 1. Now we're going to half double crochet 10 times into the circle, and when you crochet in the circle, you have to go around the circle and this yarn piece as well, because this is what closes up the circle. Now that we did our chain 1, let's do a half double crochet, and to do that you need to yarn over your hook, and then you're going to go inside your circle, grab some yarn, pull it through the circle. You have these 3 loops on your hook. You want to now yarn over your hook and pull through all 3. So that was 1 half double crochet. We need to do that 9 more times for a total of 10. So I'll show you that a couple more times. So let's go yarn over our hook first, go inside the circle, pull the yarn through the circle. We have our 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. That's a half double crochet. Let me show you that a couple more times before I go off camera. So yarn over your hook, go inside the circle, grab some yarn, pull it through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Again, this is the half double. I'll show you one more time. Yarn over your hook, go through the circle, grab that yarn, pull it through the circle. There's my 3 loops on the hook, yarning over my hook, and pulling through all 3. So do that a couple more times until you get 10 total. I will come back so I can show you how I pull on this yarn once I start to close it up. Okay, so I have a total of 9 half double crochets in this. I'm just now going to pull on this yarn so I can close up the circle. So you can see it's now closed up, and then I like to do my 10th one once it's closed like this because I feel like it just helps round out the circle. So I'm just going to do my last half double crochet by yarning over my hook, going into the circle, grabbing my yarn, pulling it through. There's my 3 loops on the hook. I'm yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. And now I have 10 half double crochets in this circle, and I'm just going to pull this out really quick so I can count it with you guys. You can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this right here is that chain 1. So you can see it's separate from what I counted because that's not going to count as a stitch. So now it's kind of hard to tell right now, but you're going to see later on how you can easily tell when you're going around, and that's why you won't need a stitch marker. But let's just finish this round off first by we're going to slip stitch into our first half double crochet. So that one right there, you just want to slip stitch, and to do that you want to take your hook, go through that stitch, grab some yarn, and just pull it straight through that stitch and this loop as well. And that's the end of round 1. To start every round, you will need to do a chain 1. So yarn over your hook and pull it through. That's a chain 1. So let's just recap. We did a slip stitch into that first half double crochet we did, and then with staying there you also had to chain 1. And now we're going to increase into each one of these stitches, but we're going to increase with a half double crochet. So you're still working into this first stitch right here. So to increase into our stitches, we need to start off with our first half double crochet. So let's yarn over a hook, go through this stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through. There's our 3 loops on the hook. Let's yarn over and pull through all 3. So that was a half double crochet. We need to do 1 more of those to make it an increase into the same stitch. So let's yarn over our hook, go through that stitch, grab some yarn, pull it through. There's my 3 loops on the hook. I'm yarning over, pulling through all 3. So I'm just going to repeat that into each one of these stitches. So let's do that again. Let's yarn over our hook, go into the next stitch now, grab that yarn, pull it through. There's our 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. And now I have to repeat that into the same stitch because it is an increase. So I just yarn over, go through that stitch. There's my 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. I'll show that one last time. Yarning over my hook, going into the next stitch, grab that yarn. There's my 3 loops, yarn over my hook, pull through all 3. I'm doing that one more time into the same stitch. This is an increase, increasing with our half double crochets. So now you're just going to complete that by doing it all the way through, and you will end up with 20 of these in this round. I am now done with increasing into this entire round, increasing with our half double crochet, and this is what it looks like. So this is the reason why I said you don't need a stitch marker, is because you can see how it ends off. You see this little gap right here? You can tell that's when you're done with that round. So this right here is the slip stitch that you do at the end of the rounds, so that's why you can tell that's where you're going to stop. And I will just count this row so you can see you should have 20 in this round. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This last one right here is 20. And then this right here is the chain 1. So that was 20, the chain 1, and there is your slip stitch. So if you do need a stitch marker, you can put it into this last stitch if you like. But now after you finish a round, you do want to slip stitch into your first stitch. So find your first stitch, which is this one right here for me. you want to go through that stitch, grab the yarn, pull it straight through, and that's the end of round 2. Now we're going on to round 3, and remember, every time you start a new round you need to chain 1. So let's yarn over our hook and pull through. So that's our chain 1. Remember, slip stitch, then chain 1, and now we're going to start off by doing another actually I was going to say I want to increase into the first stitch, but actually we're going to do 1 half double crochet into the first stitch. So this is my first stitch right here. You can see I pulled it apart so you can see that's the first stitch. So let's yarn over our hook, go through that stitch, still a half double crochet, so there's my 3 loops, yarning over and pulling through all 3. And then after we do our half double crochet into the following stitch, we want to increase with the half double. So let's yarn over our hook, go into the next stitch, grab some yarn, pull it through, there's my 3 loops, yarning over, pulling through all 3. And remember, an increase, you have to do that another time into the same stitch. So I'm just going ahead, yarning over, going through that stitch, grabbing the yarn, pulling it through, there's my 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. And now you just want to repeat those 2 steps all the way through. I forget how much you need in this round, so I will tell you once I finish around it, but of course it's going to be sped up for you guys. But I'm going to show you that one more time. I didn't mean that I'm speeding up the video, but I will be finishing the round off, and then I'll let you know how many stitches will be in this round. But to follow through that again, we want to start off with a half double. So let's yarn over our hook, go into our next stitch, and just do 1 half double crochet. And then into the next one we have to increase with our half double. So let's yarn over, go through that stitch, there's our 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. You need to do that one more time into the same stitch because that is an increase. So just keep doing that until you get to the end. And remember, let's just do it one more time. There's a half double into the next one. Into the following one I want to do an increase with the half double. So I just did that once and twice. So I'll finish off this round and then I'll let you know how many stitches I have. So I made it towards the end and I do have 30 stitches in this round, and you can see again you have this little gap right here because that is that slip stitch. There's this itty bitty chain 1 right here, and then that's my first stitch. So you should end up with 30 stitches in this round. And now let's end this round off by doing our slip stitch. So remember, there is your chain 1. You want to go into your first stitch of that round. You just want to go into that stitch, grab that yarn, pull it through, straight through. And then that's the end of round 3. Now moving on to round 4, again we have to chain 1 every time we start a new round. So let's yarn over our hook and pull through. This time we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to do a half double crochet into this first stitch right here. So let's yarn over hook, go through a stitch, do your half double, and then into the next stitch you're going to do 1 half double, and then into the third stitch you want to increase. So let's yarn over, go into that stitch, do our first half double, and then you want to do that one more time into the same stitch because that's an increase. So you just want to repeat that step all the way through, and then I'll let you know how many stitches are in this round. But to recap, we did a half double crochet, 1 half double into the first 2 stitches, and then into the third one we did an increase, and I'll show that one more time before I go off camera. So into these 2 stitches, this 1, 2, we're going to do 1 half double crochet. So I did my first one, I'm going into my next stitch to do 1 half double, and then into the third one I'm doing an increase. So we're just increasing to make the bottom of the bag first. So now I'll just go ahead and finish this part off camera, and then I'll let you know how many stitches I have. Also remember, I did say this is freehand, so that's why I'm telling you guys after I finish this round, because I usually don't count when I'm doing something freehand. I'm now done with that round, and I do have 40 stitches. So you can see our bag is slowly increasing, and if you want to adjust this pattern, all you have to do is just keep increasing this part if you want it any bigger. I will be doing my last increasing round on this round that we're going to do next. So to end this off, let's go into, remember this is the slip stitch, this is the chain 1, it's right there, this chain 1, and this is my first stitch. So I'm going into that first stitch, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. So let's go into that stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, and there's the end of that round. So this round we have to start off, remember, always chain one, so yarn over, pull through. And remember how I said if you want to keep increasing it, all you have to do, if you notice, I started off with increasing. Okay, so this was the first round, and then the next round I just kept increasing all the way through. Then I followed that by doing a half double crochet and then an increase into the next stitch. And this round that we just did, I did in a half double into the first two and then an increase. So this time what we're going to do is basically the same method, except this time we're going to do a half double into this one, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to increase. So if you wanted to, let's say, make it bigger, for the following round after this one, you would do 1, 2, 3, 4, then increase. So that's how you adjust things to make it bigger. But for this round, let's go ahead and do a half double into the first 3 stitches. So just 1 half double. So this is going to be my first one. I'm moving it to the next stitch to do 1 more. And then I'm moving to my third stitch to do another half double. So next, as I mentioned, you have to increase now to make the bag bigger. So you're going to do your half double, the first one, and your second one into the same stitch because that's an increase. So now you just have to repeat those steps all the way through. So let's go ahead and do a half double, just 1 half double into 1, 2, 3 stitches. Let's go ahead and do that. So this is 1, this is my second, moving on to that third stitch, and then this one I'm going to do an increase with our half double. So I just did my first, and I'm going into it again because remember this is an increase. So now just keep repeating that all the way through, and then I'll let you know how many stitches I end up with. I just finished this round and I do have 50 stitches. And before we get going, I do want to mention that with this piece right here, you can just weave it in. So you can see, I'm just going to take my crochet hook and insert it into any like stitch I find close by. I'm going to take that yarn and just pull it through. We could have crocheted over it, but I forgot to do it this time. So you can just weave it into any of these little spots here. Just stick your crochet hook through a stitch or any part of a stitch, grab that yarn and pull it through. If you want, you can see how I didn't pull all the way. I still have a loop here. You can just take your yarn and put it through the loop, and then you can just cut off the rest of this so it won't come undone. But yeah, you can just keep doing that to however many times you want. So you can just secure it that way, and then, you know, just take your scissors and cut it off. But yeah, that's just in case it was bothering you. But yeah, so that's how many I'm going to increase for this round. If you like to keep increasing or just remember what I said, let me end this part off and then I'll explain it one more time. But you just want to slip stitch into your first stitch. So remember, I'm going to explain this every time. This right here is the slip stitch. This little thing right here is the chain one, and that's your first stitch. So go into that first stitch, go through, grab some yarn and pull it through the stitch and this loop as well. And that's the end of your round. So in that previous round we just did, what we did was half double into the first 3. So we did into that one, 1, 2, 3, and then we did an increase. If you wanted to make the bag bigger, you would do a half double into the next 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you would increase into the next stitch, and you just repeat that step over and over. But because I don't want the bag too big, I'm just going to stop here. And what I'm going to do now is just create the length of the bag. So I just want to create however tall I want this bag to be. I don't make it too big, but I'll let you know how many I do after I finish it. But I will do most of this part off camera because it's just going to be a repeat. I will just show one round for you on camera, but because you're not going to be increasing or anything for this next round unless you were making the bag bigger, but because I'm not, I'm just going to be keeping the same number of stitches I have in this round all the way through, and you're just going to be doing 1 half double into each one of these stitches. So I hope I'm not getting confusing or anything. But remember, every time we start off a new round, let's chain 1, so yarn over your hook and pull through, and then you're going to do a half double into all of these stitches, just 1 half double. So let's yarn over our hook, go into your first stitch, and just do your half double. Now because, well, if you made it all this way through, you know what a half double is, so I'm not going to have to explain it too much, but just do one half double into each one of these stitches and you're going to be done with this round, and you would just keep repeating it until you get the length that you want. So now we're just working on the length because we've already done the hard part, which was basically just increasing. So I'm just going to do this part off camera and then I will be right back. So I'm towards the end of this round. You can see that it's expanding just a bit, and you can see that it's still flat. It has not started to curve up yet. It's going to start curving up after you do a couple more rounds. So this is what it currently looks like, and I'll show you how to end it off one last time. So to end off the round, you have to slip stitch into your first stitch, and to explain once more, this right here is your slip stitch, this is the chain one, this is your first stitch. So going into this stitch right here, grabbing my yarn and pulling it through the stitch and this yarn piece as well. And if you can tell, I'm not sure if you can tell, but this right here is the seam. So now to start off every round, chain one. So just yarn over your hook and pull through, and just keep doing your half double crochets into each one of your stitches. And it's going to start curving up a bit more now, but I will just continue doing this until I get the length of my bag. So I'll be back after I finish that, and I'm going to be back after I'm basically to this point right here, to this top part, and then I'll show you how I add my, well, not, I was gonna say brown yarn, but I'm using green, so I will show you how I add my green yarn to the top of this once I get back. Hey guys, so I'm back, and this is what the bag looks like. I'm just gonna make it flat so we can be in the camera's view, but I did about 13 to 14 rows. You don't have to make it the same length, but remember, if you do make it a little bit longer, we are still adding the green part or the brown part depending on what color you're using, but I only do about 2 rows of these, so it's not going to be like that much longer when you do add this. But yeah, so I just did about 13 to 14 rows, and now we can color change. For this color change, as I keep mentioning, this is freehand, so I don't really take it to like it has to be like perfect or anything. So the way that I'm going to do it is not how I usually would color change, but because this is just a simple bag, what I'm going to do is where you ended off, just take your scissors and cut off some of that yarn. And what you're going to do here is, let me get my green yarn. Green yarn is a tangled mess. Actually, I have decided that I'm just going to do the color change how I usually would, only because I don't know, I just want to keep it consistent. But so we just cut off that piece of yarn right there, and we have this loop here. So what I'm going to do now is take my green yarn and just put it through this loop and create a loop as well. So basically you just want to have this, you see this loop here with the orange, you want to do the same thing with the green and put it inside. So take your crochet hook into the orange loop so you can grab the green through, and then you want to take the end part of the orange and just pull down, and now you have your green yarn. And then what you can do is just tie these two pieces together just to make it secured. I'm gonna tie it about 2 to 3 times. 2 is good enough. Okay, so now we have our green, and you're just going to basically do the same thing, but now you just have it with green yarn. And for this part right here, I do like to crochet over this instead of cutting it off. Also, before I start crocheting, this orange right here is going to be my chain 1, and this green is just going to be the normal loop. So you're not going to have to chain 1 once you start with the green. But now let's just do our half double crochets. I'm going to do a couple with you on camera. So let's go ahead and do your, sorry, I said double crochet, but I meant half double. But just go ahead and do your half double into the normal first stitch. So this one right here. And then I'm holding these pieces of yarn close to where the stitches are so I can crochet over that. So let's just go ahead and go in with our half doubles and just crochet over it. So you can see I'm going through the stitch, and I have those pieces of yarn there, and it's just going to cover as I keep crocheting along. So go ahead and do a couple rows with the green or brown, whatever you're using. I'm gonna do about 2 to 3. I'll come back if I do change how many I do, but yep, now we're just doing green. And my yarn, green yarn, is kind of tangled, so I have to go off camera to fix that. But let me just take this off to show you what it currently looks like. Doesn't it kind of look like a carrot? But yeah. Anyways, I will go off camera really quick and I'll finish about a couple more rows and then I'll be back. So I ended up only doing 2 rows of the half double because I didn't want it too long, and also this is really reminding me of a carrot. I kind of wish I had brown instead of this green. I think it still looks fine, but also if you have any pieces like this hanging out, you can just go ahead and cut that off. Let me do that really quick. And then also if you don't want to do another row of a half double, you can opt out to go for a single crochet row, and that'll make it just like a little bit taller but not too much. So after you finish doing your rows of whatever color you decided to choose, you can now make the handle. And we don't cut anything off. We're going to use the same color that you did for this this top stem part right here. So what I'm going to do is create a chain that'll go around to this side, and you can make the chain however long you want. I don't make mine too long, so you can see right here it's pretty short, but you can make it, because the thing is, if you make it too long, the bag is gonna kind of hang down once you have all of this stuff in there, depending on how heavy it is. But yeah, it's gonna be hanging down, so you don't want to make your handle too long. So to make the chain, or to make the handle, you want to start off with a chain, and to do that you're going to start where you ended off. So that would be right here. This is where I did my slip stitch. So you have to, after you finish the row, remember to do your slip stitch, and then you're just now going to create your chain. So to create the chain, just yarn over your hook and pull through, and just keep doing that. So yarn over your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and you just want to keep doing that until you get the length of the handle you want. So let me just do a couple. And then you just want to match it to, not match it, but you want to go over to the other side and see how long you want it. I'm going to do a couple off camera because it's just chaining. Here is how long my chain is. It's about a chain of 42. And when I just hang it off to this side, you can see that's how tall it's going to be. But yeah, mine is a chain of 42, but also this yarn is thinner. So it's a thinner side of 4. So you might need to do something a little bit less than mine. But now what we're going to do is crochet back down into the chain, and we're going to crochet back down with a half double. So basically what we've been doing. Now to go back into the chain, you don't want to go into the chain closest to the hook. So this one here, you don't want to go into that. You're going to go into the second one right here. So let's yarn over a hook because we're doing a half double, and then go into your second chain, which is this one right here. Let's go into this one. There's my 3 loops, yarn over, and pull through all 3. I'm losing my voice. Okay, so now just do that all the way down. We're just creating the thickness of the handle. So just go ahead and do your half double till you get to the bottom, and then once we get there, I'll show you what I'll do next. Okay, so you can see this is how thick the handle is right now. I feel like I did make it like a tad bit longer than my other ones. Oh yeah, this is definitely longer than my other ones, but that's fine. So, oh my god. I'm not sure if you can hear in that last clip, but a fly like flew so close to my face and then it made me knock down my camera. But anyways, so once you make it down back your handle, you're going to come back down to this top part of your stem section, and what you're going to do is single crochet back down into one of these stitches. I don't go into the one that's like okay, so you can see where I pull it, this is where the chain is, so it's kind of like at that stitch, this stitch right here. I'm going to single crochet into this next one because the handle is kind of thick. I don't want to put it like right here, it's going to squeeze this part of the handle. So I want to go into this stitch right here, and I'm going to do a single crochet. So a single crochet is just going into this stitch, grabbing the yarn, pulling it through. I have my 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through both. And then what I'm going to do is, you can see I'm on the outside of the handle right now. I'm just going to turn it this way because I'm going to work my way back up this handle part. And this is where you can determine if you want to do another half double crochet or a single crochet. I don't want this handle to be too big because I feel like it's going to look weird if it's like as thick as this border right here. So what I'm going to do is go back down with a single crochet because I don't want it to be like too thick. So what we're going to do is just, well, I'm going to do a single crochet. So I'm not going to go into, sorry, I was confusing my stitch, but what I'm going to do as I turn this over, so I'm working on the back of the handle right now, I'm just going to move this yarn piece up. I'm not going to chain one or anything. I'm just going to go straight into this stitch right here, so it's close to the corner. I'm just going to go in and just do a single crochet. So remember, single crochet, just go into your stitch, grab some yarn, pull it through. There's 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. I'm just doing a single crochet once again because I don't want this handle to be too thick. If you want yours a little bit thicker, you can go for a half double if you like. But I'm just going to do this until I get to the end of this handle, and then we can sew up the side. We're not going to use a sewing needle. We're just going to go in with our crochet hook just to make it easier on ourselves so we don't have too many things we need. But remember, single crochet, just go through a stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on my hook, yarning over, pulling through both. So I'll be back once I get to the end of this. I made it back down the handle. I'm just going to cut off some of this yarn. You need to make sure the yarn is long enough so you can sew up the side. So just cut off some yarn. I'm going to do about that much. And then you can see this loop here. What I like to do is take this yarn and put it through the loop. And that's just one way we can secure it. Now we're going to close up this side of the handle. So what I like to do is, you can see where this is going to be one corner of the bag. So I just like to fold it like this. And then just figure out where you want this part of the handle to go. Sometimes I make it crooked when I'm not like paying attention too much, but what I like to do is just determine, I think this will be perfect in here like this. Okay, so I'm gonna do it from the inside. So what I do is take this part of the yarn and I'm gonna match it up. Okay, I want it to go into this stitch because you can see where this handle goes. So what I'm gonna do is take my crochet hook, go into the stitch, grab this yarn and pull it through. And then what I'm gonna do next is take that yarn and put it to the top of this handle, or actually technically it's the bottom, but to the bottom right here, and then take that yarn, pull it through, and now it's back on the inside of the pumpkin. So then you want to go into the next stitch. So this is where we first attach that yarn. Now we're going to go into this one, grab that yarn and pull it through, and then you want to go back into the handle. So I'm just taking my crochet hook, pushing it from the back of that handle, taking the yarn and putting it through. Of course you can use a threading needle, which I do have, but I just don't like grabbing too many things when I can just use the hook. So now the yarn is back on the inside of the pumpkin. Now I'm just going to go into the next stitch, grab that yarn, pull it through, and then go back into the handle. So you can do that a couple of times just to make sure it's really secured in there. Let's see, can I get through? So yeah, you can do that a couple more times if you'd like, but I'm just going to end it right here and I'm going to show you how I close it off. So where I ended off at that stitch, so you see how it came through this stitch, but I put it back into the handle. Now it's on the inside. I'm just going to go into this stitch again, and I'm going to take the yarn, and I'm not going to pull it all the way through, just enough until I have a loop. So there's my loop. And then I'm just going to take that yarn and put it through the loop, and that's just how I secure it. You can do that a couple more times just to make sure that, you know, it's not going to fall off or anything. You can even go back into the handle. There's the loop at the handle portion. And then you can bring it back to the inside and basically just keep securing it to make sure nothing falls off. You can also weave it into the bag if you want, or you can just cut off the extra pieces of yarn. It kind of just depends on what you want. But yeah, so I just leave it like that, and then you can cut it off. Remember, you can cut it off or weave it into the bag depending on how perfect you want it, but I think it's fine either way. And now we can glue on the face. So I already cut out my pieces, so all you have to do is just cut out some triangles. For the mouth, I went with this mouth instead of the this one, because it's kind of hard for me to make when I'm not paying attention. So I went with this one because I think it still looks cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue this on, and don't forget the little nose, and then we will be done with our Halloween bag. Another thing, so you can see the seam right here. You can figure out where you want your face to go if you care. I feel like the seam kind of looks cute because it can kind of look like a scar, but if you don't like that, you can put it on this side and you can see that it's flat and you don't see the seam. But let's see, what do I want today? I think I'm just gonna go with the flat side today, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue this on. Alright guys, and this is how it turns out once you glue everything on. I did glue the rest off camera because I didn't want it too lopsided, and I do prefer this mouth over this one, but I did want to try something new, and this one is easier to make in case you can't like cut these out, but they look so cute. I thought it was really simple to make, and I can't wait to give these out. I don't know if kids are going trick-or-treating this year, but if not, I'll give them to like specific people that I do know. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be making any other Halloween themed things, but so far I'm working on a lot of these. But hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.